Right, so I made these spacers up on the stand. I just made them out of, I kind of formed boxes out of kind of thin wood square channel and welded those on. So now the back wheel, when it's on the stand, the back wheel is quite well clear of the ground, so you should be able to rev the engine and spin the wheel without the bike trying to get away. Especially around here because the ground's soft. I'll probably be on grass and that a lot, so it needs a bit of ground clearance under the back wheel. So we're nearly ready for a cold start attempt. And the other thing is, this bike didn't come with a seat. Well, the seat did. It came with a bit of a seat, but it was completely disintegrated. So I chucked that away, and I thought it was temporary. It was a temporary seat. I got this seat that came off of a kind of disabled person's chair on wheels kind of thing. So I think I'll fix that on there. That fairly works quite well, just temporarily. But eventually I'll get a new seat for it. One thing I'm slightly worried about is the speedo drive. It's kind of worm gear inside this front hub assembly, but the pinion is very stiff in this casting, in the housing, and I've worked it for ages trying to get it to free off, and it's gradually freed off, but it's still a bit stiff. So what I'm hoping is when the front wheel's rotating and driving the speedo drive, it'll free off a bit more. But I'm just worried that if it goes the other way and seizes more, it might strip the pinion, which will be a right nuisance. So I'll have to check on that as we go. What I'm mainly doing at the moment with this bike is waiting for the bits to come in that I've ordered. The magneto coil and the spring, suspension spring, and they've got to come quite a long way to get here, but they seem to be able to deliver things anywhere in the world within a reasonable time these days, so hopefully they'll soon turn up. But in the meantime, I've done a few other things. I've noticed on the wheels, the back tyre was quite a lot more worn than the front tyre. So what I've done is I've swapped the tyres over just to equalise the wear. And it's either never had a puncture or it's always had new inner tubes, because there's no patches on either inner tube, which is I suppose it's a fairly good sign. It shows it hasn't been misused too much. And I've been trying to free the front brake cable off without much success. I've been trying to, it's quite stiff, and been trying to work a well into it, but it hasn't really worked. And because with that type of cable you can't get the inner out without taking the end knobs off. I don't really want to do that, so I think I'll have to invest in a new brake cable. And also the where are they? The brake shoes. Just trying to find the ones that are broken. I think it was on the back. Oh, here they are. On the back brake shoes were actually broken. This bit's supposed to be a hole in half, or it would have broken off. So I'll have to. And also one of the linings that come off, so I think what I'll do is I'll buy a new set of brake shoes, and then what I'll do is put the these are the I think these are the front brake shoes. So what I think I'll do is I'll put the new brake shoes on the front wheel, and have the older ones on the back. Although they've still got plenty plenty of thickness on the linings, so I've got the best brake shoes on the front. I don't know whether you've noticed, but the brakes on bikes and cars, normally the front brakes are bigger than the back brakes, and the reason for that is weight transfer. The more you brake, the more weight goes onto the front wheels or wheel. So the more you brake, the more grip the front wheel's got, and the less grip the back wheel's got. So which is on the back, it's completely the wrong way round. Because the more you brake, the less grip it's got. But on the front, the more you brake, the more grip it's got. So you can make more use of the front wheel for braking, and that's why they put bigger brakes on the front than the rear. Just a bit of useless information. So that's about the story at the moment. The wheels are quite rusty, but I think they're still safe. And it's quite be very difficult to get the rust off without a bit of hydrolysis or something like that, which is quite a lot of messing about. So anyway, and the other thing I did was I got rid of the old. I'll go and get it there. This was the old hideous looking exhaust shroud that was originally on the exhaust pipe, like that. So I got rid of that. That was mainly making main thing that was making the bike look terrible. So I made this one out of stainless steel, a nice bit of stainless steel. So that's much better. I think it's just stops you burning your leg on the exhaust pipe and gives it a bit of protection. So that was another thing I've done. And also I made a seat. This was I think I mentioned it before, as the seat off of a disabled walker thing, and I kind of modified it to go on this motorbike. So that's about the story so far. So this is the carburetor. I've taken it off and taken it to bits, and yes, there is quite a lot of muck in there in the bottom of the float chamber. So we'll just give it a good old clean out. Good clean out with clean petrol. Put it back on and see if we've got a decent flow of petrol into the float chamber. Oh, it's a lovely bit of warm sunshine now, although it's the middle of winter. Let's get some funny weather here. Anyway, I've cleaned the carburetor out, got all the gunge out of the float chamber, and clean the passages as best I can. But it's passing fuel, but the problem is it's passing too much fuel now. When you turn the isolating valve on, I think eventually, if you wait long enough, the fuel will start coming out of the overflow pipe. There you are. That means the needle valve on the float isn't seating, it isn't shutting off. So that's another problem. I've got to take the carburetor off and have a look at the needle valve. I thought I'd cleaned it, but perhaps there is a bit more muck in there. So anyway, we'll do that next. Right, so I think we've cleaned the petrol tank out pretty thoroughly now with all that siphoning, and we've got fairly clean fuel in there. So we'll see now if we've cured the problem with the flooding carburetor, because that needle valve is really free. So we'll turn the fuel on. It'll take a while for the float chamber to fill up, and then it should shut off, and we shouldn't see any fuel coming out of anywhere. So hopefully can't see much, but hopefully that's what it's doing. It could take some time. It's only a tiny kind of tiny outlet on the valve. This is where it'll come out if it overflows. So far it's looking quite promising. Give it a little while longer. Looks like it's a lovely sunny day today here now. It's the middle of winter and it should be freezing cold. We get the real extremes of the weather. Where I live, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, really. But anyway. Oh no, we're still leaking. Oh bugger. Right, I've had the car back on. After that cleaning, it still leaks. It's still, that needle valve is still not closing. So what I've done is I've taken the carb off and taken the float bowl out. So what I'll try is I'll try lifting the float up by hand to see if that turns it off. So we'll turn the petrol on and we lift the float up by hand. I wonder if that's leaking still. It does actually seem to shut it off. That might take a bit too much effort. I might not have a perfect seating. Perhaps the flotation of the float isn't enough to turn it off when it's working normally. Anyway, I'll have a look at the needle and the seatings to see if I can improve it somehow. So I'll turn that off quickly and we'll have another look at it. Right, I think after 3 or 4 attempts we've actually got that needle valve to seat. I've had the fuel turned on and it's not actually fitted to the bike, but it's kind of just wedged there. I've had it going for a good few minutes and it's not overflowing, so I think we've solved that problem. I took the needle out and there's just a tiny couple of tiny like specks of sand on the needle where it seats, and that was probably just letting the fuel go past. So I think we solved that problem. Right, so now we cured that problem, I'll do what I was originally going to do, which is to see if there's petrol getting into the cylinder. So I dried and cleaned the spark plug, so that should be bone dry now, and we'll kick it over a few times with the choke out, and just to see if the plug gets wet. So we'll do that. We'll just start the mechanism up. Right, so we should have a wet spark plug now. Right, so I've taken the plug out and it's quite wet with petrol, so at least this petrol's going down to getting into the cylinder. So hopefully the coil will soon be delivered, and apparently it's going to come halfway around the world. So when we get that, we should get a spark and it might fire up.